Hey everybody, welcome to Founder Fridays. Today's guest is John Rush. John is a serial entrepreneur who built and scaled over 20 startups. He founded MarsX.dev, grew Unicorn Platform to hundreds of thousands of users, and is known for running one of the most automated companies in tech. John, thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Problem. John, I would love to get to know a little bit more about your journey, how it began, what was the first project you ever built?
I started 20 years ago, and my first project was a marketplace for students to connect and help each other with homework and tutoring and things like that. So that was my first project, and I was kind of lucky that it grew really big, and I made a lot of money on that project while running it. But then after 1 year, I sold it, and I had my first exit. And after that, I could take some risks, and I went into risk all the money I earned from that exit by investing in startups, and I lost everything while doing that.
How did that happen? Can you tell me a little bit more about how you lost everything?
Yeah, so I just invested in a lot of startups, but I did it in a way the bad VCs do. So I would invest too early. I think investing too early is the worst way to invest into startups because you kind of enter at a really cheap valuation, but at the same time you increase the risks of failure by 10 or 100x. And that's what I did. So I put a lot of money into a lot of startups, and almost all of them failed, and few had success. But since I was investing in Norway, the successful startup was still small. Like if I invested that in Silicon Valley, then one startup, one unicorn would just return the whole fan, and the second one would make a lot of money. But in this case, the winner still didn't make for the losses.
No, I feel like you've built a ton of different startups. I know from our previous conversations.
Yeah,
Now it's like somewhere over 24. How do you
yeah.
decide which of those is worth pursuing or which ones are going to be successful?
I run business differently compared to other people. So I don't look at business as a way to make money. So I look at it more like art. Like if you're making music or movies or paintings. So I just see a problem in my own work and I want to solve the problem. And then I solve the problem for myself first and for my friends because all my friends are entrepreneurs too. So I solve it for myself and for my friends, and I'm happy with that. So the whole goal from the beginning isn't there to make money. It is there to solve a problem. That's why I have problem first. And that's why I solve existing problem. And it's hard to fail because you have the problem, your friends have a problem, and then I build a solution for that. And then as a side effect, at some point, when I see that it worked great for me and for my friends, I start putting it out for all the people to see, and then I get more people to use it, right? But it's not like I would give up on the project if nobody is using it because it's me who is using it at first and then my friends are using. So I'm already happy with that. And that's how all my ideas come into place. So I solve my own problems, and I'm always happy with the solution because it actually helps me to solve my own problems. And often I see products doing the same thing, but I have my own vision on how things have to be solved, and that's why I build slightly differently so that it fits for me, like for a busy solopreneur. And all the products out there are built for teams, and I don't have team. So in my case, I want products that just do things without me doing anything. And if you look at the market, all products are made for teams with permissions, with a lot of buttons, so that people spend the whole day working within the tool. And I don't want that. I just want one button where I say start, and I just close it, and then it does the job.
Okay. And I mean, I'm building open tools. I feel like there's so many things I have to handle in one day. So how do you balance running multiple ventures at once?
I have no time pressure. So I'm moving very slow with some products. I spend 1 hour a month. With some products, I spend 100 hours a month, and then it's just shuffling around based on the users screaming at me, bug reports, and opportunities on the market. But I would say I don't really feel squeezed because somehow when you have a lot of products, you become really efficient with your time, And also, you become really good at saying no to things. And it turns out that you can actually harm your product by doing too much when you have a lot of time and a lot of resources. And that's when my products are so simple. And they, even when I succeed with the product, like I have products used by hundreds of thousand people, right? Like a lot of people, but I'm not doing what others do. I don't start pushing features every day. I rather improve stuff I have because I believe that users want this stuff to be great rather than to have a lot of features, because the reason they signed up for my tool at first was because they liked it, right? And why would suddenly they dislike it because I don't have a new feature, right? So they already like it. And that's why if I just take what I have and make it better, they're going to like it more. But if I just add more features, I don't know. Maybe they didn't want those features. Maybe now it's complicated for them. So that's kind of the whole secret sauce here. I just don't rush. I do move really slow with my each product, and I have no deadlines. Nobody's pushing me. I don't have enterprise customers who have, who I have contracts with where I have to deliver things at certain time points. That's why I'm just moving with my own pace.
It's amazing. And I mean, it sounds a lot more stress-free, but I know you have your personal deadlines. You discuss a lot online about automation and about kind of creating the most automated companies in the world.
Yeah.
Can you describe a little bit more what you mean by automation and how that might play into how you can build so many things at once?
Yeah, I think automation is great because when we say automation, we usually mean automating things you don't want to do because those are boring things, right? Boring tasks. And if you look at your own job, 95% of your tasks and hours are spent doing things you could delegate, right? Or you could just, delegate to somebody who is a junior. But the whole problem here is that when you delegate things, you have to pay to people, you have to hire people. So it's complicated. And then the things that are left that you have to do as a founder are usually the creative things, the strategy, the ideas, and things like that, which is interesting. It's always different. It's never the same, right? And the way I see business for myself and for the future of entrepreneurship is that I think we will automate everything so much that the only thing that will be left to do for founders is to invent ideas. And by invent ideas, I don't mean new products. I mean ideas within your product. Like you invent ideas within existing product every day, right? Because all small things and tasks are ideas usually. So ideas, strategy, and creative stuff, that's the stuff I enjoy doing. And I don't enjoy doing repetitive things. That's why I automate everything that I have to do over and over again. And like you are running one product, and for you, some things are less annoying than for me. Now imagine you have something that's annoying, but it's okay, it's livable, right? But now multiply that by 24 in my case. Then it's crazy annoying for me, right? So I have really huge incentive to automate that. And that's why I'm so crazy about automation. Like a lot of people think that I'm too crazy about it, but I'm crazy about it because I have too many products and it's impossible. It's just crazy for me to do even slight boring things for me become crazy boring because it's multiplied by 24.
Okay. And I'd love to circle back to kind of your story and your founder story. So you ended up losing everything, but how did you restart? And like, where did all these 24 companies come from?
Well, I lost most of my money, but I still had some left. And
Thankfully.
basically, yeah, it was just I had a lot of money and then I had just some money left. That was the difference. So basically, when I lost everything, I was a free man again, and I start enjoying things like making, landing one client paying $19 a month, because now it was money that changes my bank account, and previously it would change nothing, right? So it was actually great for me to lose everything I earned. It was 2022 when I had that moment when I realized that I spent all my money chasing unicorns and doing VC-backed startups, living in different places like London, Silicon Valley, going into accelerators and doing all the stuff that you would do if you watched all the movies about startups, right? And I was just a typical startup founder. But then I realized that I don't like that because the VC backed world has certain values that don't match with my values, because I really like making users happy. And I really didn't like the investors and making them happy. I even felt kind of bad for making them richer. I don't know why, but it was kind of against me. And I think that was the reason why I was so bad with money and I was so bad at VC back world, is that I had this internal opposition to the whole thing. And then I gave it this new model a try. I started to bootstrap in 2022 as an experiment. I set myself, so I have some money left. I can fund my bootstrapping for 2 years or 3 years. Let's try. And if I lose all my money on this, I go back to VC back world. I raise money and I pay myself a salary, so everything will be fine. So there was no huge risk. And I tried that, and suddenly I felt completely different because users were connected to me without a middleman. I didn't have to delegate. I could do everything myself, because in VC back world you have to present the headcount to your investors. This is my chief marketing officer, chief whatever. So you have to have a lot of people. Then you raise more money for that. And here I was just by myself, and I could do everything myself, and I could do things I never done before. I could tweet my own tweets. I could send my own emails and go for the calls and everything. And I really liked that. And it worked out quite great right from the start, I would say, because it was my thing, right? I don't recommend that to everyone, but it was my thing and it clicked right away for me.
It's amazing. And what was one of your biggest wins? When did you click during bootstrapping that you decided like, oh, I can do this?
I think the first product that was like, I bought Unicorn Platform from somebody else. So it already had 25,000 users. And it started to actually go downwards right after I bought it, because people were so connected to the previous founder. And it was depressing because I paid a lot of money for the project, and it was not doing great for the first year. And I was slightly depressed because of that. But then I had this product called Dev Hunt, which was a product hunt for developers. And I did that whole thing using my new model, where I had a pain. The pain was that it was really hard on Product Hunt to launch stuff as a developer, because it was mostly occupied by marketing people, and they were voting for things. And that's why even great dev tools couldn't win there. And that looked bad for me. And I wanted to kind of solve that problem, because I had my own dev tool, which was MarsX, right? And then I went to Twitter and I tried to pitch that to people. I had just a few hundred followers. It was brand new Twitter account I had, and I tweeted saying that Product Hunt is really bad for dev tools, and that's unfair. And also, Product Hunt is closed. We don't know the algorithm, which is also unfair. Maybe they're like tweaking stuff. Let's build launchpad for dev tools called Dev Hunt. And if this tweet gets 100 likes, I will assemble a team among the people who comment this tweet, and we're going to build it together. So I said that on Twitter, and that tweet went viral. So it was my first viral tweet. Before that, the best tweet I had, maybe like 50 views. So basically zero. And this one went for 20 or 40 or 50K views. It was really, really big. And then I had people telling me, we want to join your initiative and do it together with you. And I even had some investors. So it was huge success on the tweet. And then I realized that, wow, I can actually pitch my ideas before I build them. It means that I don't even have to raise money. Like this way, I pitch the idea, that's free. I get people to help me, that's free. And I get free distribution because people are seeing how I'm building it in public. So that was the moment when it clicked for me. I realized that I have found a way to build products for free with almost no people. And that was a new thing for me. I thought that was impossible. I thought like you need to raise money or use your own money, but here I could do it for free.
Amazing. And I really love this theme of the conversation about finding a need and then solving it. I think that's a piece of advice that a lot of people are discussing right now when it comes to entrepreneurship and the idea of running a startup. How do you feel, or how do you know, I guess, what is a good idea and what is a bad idea? Because I'm sure a lot of people come to you after your success telling you, oh, I think this might be a good idea,
Yeah.
might be a good problem to solve. How can you tell if it's actually going to work and solve other people's problems as well?
Well, a lot of people lie to themselves when they think that they like their own idea. because it takes time to understand yourself and to understand whether you actually like something because it's good, or you like it because you put an effort into it, right? So people go and build something small, and then they get attached to it. They feel the effort they put, and then they don't want to tell themselves that this is not good, like nobody needs it. They try to defend their own psyche, and they try to convince themselves that this is good. But in my case, I had so many failures in my life that I kind of uh, detached myself from what I do, and I look at what I do as a outside person, right? And that's why, like, when you ask, how do I know whether idea is good or bad? To be honest, I just look at the idea with a pure mind, just like it's somebody else's idea, and then I evaluate the idea and I either like it or not. And it almost always correlates with the opinion of the other people. Right? And that's what I figured out, both with ideas and also with the content. Like I think I had more success with content than with products. Like my Twitter account and LinkedIn, they're really, really big, and the tweets are big. And I think I am one of the users who are managing to go viral with almost every tweet, right? And how is that possible? Because a lot of people say you just have to try, and something goes viral. In my case, uh, I know when it will go viral because I know when I like it, and I know when I don't like it. So when I write my tweet and I see the draft and I read it, if I don't like it, I don't tweet because I know nobody's gonna like it. And if I like it, it's 100% everybody gonna like it, right? And same with ideas. So you have to like detach yourself from the mood where you think that if you invented an idea and then you tell that this is a bad idea, then you are a failure, right? And then you don't want to be a failure, and that's why you protect yourself by not admitting that this is a bad idea. So that's what I do basically. I'm not afraid to tell myself that my idea is bad. And almost all ideas and all content ideas, all product ideas I invent are bad. Nobody sees them, but in my draft board, like it's so big. I have thousands of ideas in my draft board, both for content and for the products. And nobody has ever seen that. The world hasn't seen that because I just didn't like that myself.
It's amazing. And obviously, it seems like you're very much a solopreneur and kind of a one-man army. Do you feel like that's been better for you in building, or when do you recommend leaning on community if you have a large network like on Twitter and on LinkedIn? Do you often build with other people, or do you always prefer to build alone?
I prefer to build alone because then I have full control, and it's uh, it's easy to criticize yourself, and it's really hard to criticize other people because it hurts, and you're afraid that they will get offended, right? But at the same time, it's really hard to run project alone. Really hard because like there are bugs to fix, there are new features to add. That's why I usually start projects myself, and whenever I see traction and more work upcoming, I usually find somebody among my friends or just on the internet who is passionate about this kind of idea, and I just invite them in for a 50-50 split where we just do it together. Or in case of Dev Hunt, I had the whole team of people, like it was 7 people who just joined in as contributors, right? So I kind of start myself, and eventually I bring on a co-maker, and that's it. So I never hire people. I don't believe hiring is great idea. I don't believe hiring will survive the AI era because eventually I think almost all people will want to be in either very small teams where they're hired but they have high impact on the product, or most products will be done by co-founders because everything else can be done by AI and other tools.
Amazing. And we talk a little bit about what you're doing right now? Can you just discuss about MarsX.dev, what you're building, and how's it going?
Yeah, so MarsX is AI coding tool that very few people know about. Actually, a lot of people know about that, but not as many as know about Lovable and the Replit. So I started building that in 2019. So before AI coding thing was a thing, right? Like it was very early, and I think I was probably like me and people from Replit, we were the first who made a bet on AI changing the coding world. I remember Amjad, and I remember his words, and I was saying the same thing. So we were first, and this tool basically is used by myself to build all my other products. So I built a tool that I use myself to build all the other tools I have, the agents and SaaS products I have. And I have a wait list of 200,000 people, I think, in MarsX. So it's still closed tool. And I only invite people one by one, usually just my friends. So it's only my friends using it. And the reason I don't launch it publicly is that I just don't want to have all the support and infrastructure to maintain, because it's a complicated tool, and you can't run that alone. So whenever I launch that to the public, I have to build up a team, because this type of product is not a solopreneur product. And I don't want that. So it's kind of strange. I have investors offering me funding, and I have like everything is for me there, but I just don't want that for now. And for now, I enjoy using the tool myself, and my friends use it. And I enjoy building the portfolio of products I have, where every product is not too big so that I don't have to hire a team. So like I have this limit for products. They have to be all below 1 million MRR. And then as long as they are each below 1 million MRR, then I can still run it without stress. And maybe at some point when I'm bored of running small or medium-sized products, maybe I will, go big, but I don't want that now.
I'd love to also get your opinion on AI agents. It's something that, I mean, working in a media platform, we get questions about all the time to share more content. I'd love to know what your opinion is on them right now, how much you're using them, and where you think they might be headed.
I use a lot of AI agents. I would say I try them every day, at least maybe 10 of them a day. So I have this time slot every day where I just go to Product Hunt and I look at new AI agents there and I sign up and then try them. I don't think anyone tried as many as I tried, because it's interesting for me to see what's being cooked and the UX ideas and everything. And sometimes I find tools that I can use in my daily work. So yeah, I use a lot of tools, and I have a lot of tools I built myself. Like I have tools for marketing, a lot of tools for marketing. I think most of my marketing, except social media, is done by my own AI agents. Then I have AI agent that runs my accounting and paperwork and invoices and all that boring stuff. And then I have AI agent that runs all my communication with my co-makers, because for them it's just me. For me, it's a lot of them, right? So it's it's harder. So I have the agent that acts as me and handles 99% of the things that I have to handle in front of them. Like, and then I have AI agents that I use to build products. Like MarsX is the AI coding agent that I use to build my products. And then I use the vibe coding tools like Lovable or Emergent or Factory AI and other tools like that. So I use a lot of AI, and I had this tweet where I went to my Merkur account and I just summed up all the expenses I pay for AI, and I think it was like 20K a month or something. So I pay 20K a month for all AI tools together, which is a lot, right? But it's not more than one great employee, right? So it's kind of a lot when you look at the tools, but they replace the people for me, and that's why it doesn't look that much for me. Like a good senior employee in US would cost you 20K a month too.
No, that's a great point. And regarding these AI agents and some of them that you've been researching, can you name any that you are really been liking lately?
Well, my favorite one is probably Lovable, because I use it to prototype ideas. I used to do that in Figma, and that took me like days, because you have to do it with your own hands. And here I can just speak to it, and then I have clickable prototype. I really like it. Then I use tools like Lindy AI and Make.com to build workflows. Uh, like if you get an email, that means that, for example, an email where people ask for an invoice, then reply with this link to the invoice generator and pre-fill the data, and then etc. Right? And it saves me a lot of time because Germans always keep asking about invoices, right?
I mean, that's amazing. And I think I might be looking into a little bit of Lynda AI or Make.ai so I don't have to send out invoices. Well, that's awesome. So I guess getting to the end of this, I'd love to know a little bit more about some advice that you might have for solo founders or people who are building like you. What do you think the first step they should take is?
I think they should try to build their online presence because the advantage you have when you have followers and you have the content that gets views is huge. You can test your ideas, you can test your hypothesis before you spend time to build them. And it's a big deal because it takes weeks or months to build stuff, and it takes just minutes to tweet. And sometimes you can just tweet your idea and get so much feedback about your idea that you will actually build the right thing, right? Because when you don't do that, the chance that you'll build the right thing is pretty much zero. So you have to build something and then iterate on top of that, right? Which is difficult because it takes weeks to run every cycle of your iterations. But with tweets, it takes minutes to tweet again and tweet again and tweet again. And I think people underestimate the power of that. And also, I think people are not willing to put the time needed to actually grow on social media. Like people tell me, I try, but I get just few views and have hundreds of followers. That's it. And I'm like, how much time do you spend on social media? They're like, a lot. No. And then I'm asking, how much time do you spend creating content on social media versus consuming social media? And they're like, oh, maybe 30 minutes a day. I'm like, that's too little. I spend sometimes 10 hours a day just creating one. Like there's this thread I shared about AI coding tools. It took me like 10 hours to compile, like 10 hours for one thread. And it's getting over 1 million views already, right? So the upside is huge, but I spent 10 hours and it's a lot of time and almost nobody's willing to put that much time. But then you can't get anything out of the internet if you don't put the time.
Okay, so would you say that's a piece of advice for growing your social media organically? Would it be just putting in the time creating the
Yeah,
content?
yeah. Like high effort content will win no matter what because people feel that like when you read something and you see somebody spend time doing that, it means they save your time and you appreciate that and you want to read it, right? And people are just entering internet and trying to put some questions or small advice or like that's never gonna work unless you're Elon Musk or something famous, right? But if you're not famous, you have to actually kind of work for people for free. Like that's the general rule. Like you have to do the work for your audience so that they consume it and they think, cool, I would have paid for it, but it's free. Great. Thank you.
That's amazing. And I guess one of our final questions, I just wanted to know if you have a daily habit or ritual that you do while you're building all these companies to help you stay focused and in the CEO mindset.
I try to criticize my own work, my own content. So I try to look at things I do with a clear mind, just like it's not my own work. Because, it's easy to say, and it's really hard to actually do that because our brain is wired in a way to save us from criticizing ourselves because we don't want to have low esteem. And what I do every day, I look at everything I do and I try to be a ready guy. I try to criticize myself as I'm somebody who loves criticizing everybody. There are people like that who just go on the internet and just write shit under everything. So I do that to my own content and to my own products. And of course, I don't share it. I just do it in my head. And often, I find things I should change before people tell me that, which is great because when people tell me that, it hurts. It hurts more than when you tell it yourself, right? So, and I kind of save myself from public criticism by criticizing myself. And I do that almost daily. Like every morning, I look at everything I've done yesterday and I try to be really critical. And then after that, I'm fine with myself.
It's amazing. And you're right. The criticism the next day, looking at something that you spent all day on, is always An eye-opening experience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. Sometimes you look at the stuff you've done yesterday that you thought is the best idea in the world, and then you look at it in the morning, you're like, "Oh my God, how how could I think so?"
What a usage of my time and what I wish I could have done. But I think it's all a learning experience. But John, where could
Yeah.
people maybe follow along and see what you're doing next?
Twitter, I'm there every day. I had a break for 3 months on Twitter. Actually, I had a break from all my work. Like, I claim that I run the most automated organization in the world, right? And I've been away for 3 months. Everything works perfectly. Like nothing broke. Like everything was great. Of course, some things didn't grow as much as they grow when I work because I'm marketing things actively and I bring more users. But there was pretty, decent growth on some products. I was not sure that things will work out, so it was really risky experiment. But I can really admit now that my system works without me, and I can be gone for a month, and everything just works. So yeah, people can find me on Twitter, and I'm there, and I reply all DMs in all comments as long as I have to reply. So if anybody wants to talk to me, I don't like to jump on calls, like never offer me that unless it's a podcast. But I always reply on DMs.
Okay, amazing. And I'll also link this below whatever content you're viewing this on. I'll also link all of your social media,
Yeah,
um,
thank you.
and where people can follow. John, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I enjoyed this.